Welcome to the Cannon Estate. My name's Amanda, and I'm going to take you on a tour of this weekend's estate sale. Let's talk about parking. We have plenty of space to park here at the Cannon Estate sale. However, it is going to be pasture or field parking. We are right on BB Highway and there are no shoulders. We're right at a junction of BB and F Highway. And so there's kind of a lot of action and traffic that comes through here. So we have to be very mindful that we're not parking and blocking in any unsafe ways. So we're gonna ask you to go ahead and come into the property, and then we'll come around the shop and we will park out here in the pasture. We'll have plenty of parking. We can come in and out here. And then to load up some things from the house, we do have another gate access a little further down, kind of closer to the backyard. So that'll help load out some items that way. But this will be where we drive in and out to exit and enter for parking this weekend at the Cannon Estate Sale. Welcome to the shop. Weather permitting, we're gonna have all the shop doors rolled up, but if it's raining real hard, this will be our access in to the shop. I do wanna point out, with the camera focus, these items are actually going to sit outside the day of sale. If they get a little rained on, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. This is where we have our garden cart. We have some flower pots and plant hangers, things like that. We do have some cedars, and a rake, and then we do have like a fishing table. So these things will actually sit right outside, which will kind of open up some space right here when you first come in. This is kind of where your guys will be hanging out to check out, things like that. But we're just gonna work our way around. Right inside the door, we have a lot of yard hand tools. This has drinks in it. We've been keeping hydrated out here. So all of these are here. And then we just kind of have some miscellaneous stuff here and there. We do have a couple of heaters, some spotlights, battery chargers, a little bit of hosing. This is where our weed eaters are located. So all our string trimmers, chainsaws. One of our air compressors is located here. We do have another one in another location. So let me turn. One of my lights is not wanting to come on today. So this is where the Hustler will be. So you guys can fire it up and check it out. We do have a line. Some of these tools will be in here. So the drill press, shop vacs, we've got floor jacks, pressure washer, all the chop saws, and the toolbox. So that'll kind of be here. And again, we'll actually be able to walk through here, day of sale. Let me hop over there though. All right, I'm on the other side of that pile now. We do have, I kind of want to point out if I can get the lighting to focus. We do have a full tent system here. So there's a couple of tarps and canopies. There's a tub under here that has all of the joint brackets that hook everything together. So there's a huge tent there. All of these vintage refrigerators are going to be available too. They were using them for tool storage and things like that. So if you're in the market, whether you use it or maybe you want to scrap it, we do have a few of those that will be available. And then we'll kind of work our way through the tables here in a minute. I do want to show you a couple of things. We're trying to just kind of have alleyways that you guys can walk. We will have a few of the ladders in here. We do have kind of that universal ladder. These are a set of aluminum ramps. One of our aluminum extension ladders is here. And those, if the weather cooperates, we may even lean those up against the outside of the building, but there will be several ladder options here. This shelf has a lot of gloves, tool belts, ammo cans, things like that. We do have several rubber boots. This is where we get into a lot of the welding type things. So these are grinders, cutters, welding mask. We do have several like replacement shields that go in your viewers or your helmets. Lots of welding rods. This helmet was actually new in the box. And so around here is just a continuation of a lot of the welding stuff. So we have a lot of welding helmets. I do believe we might even have some gloves, lots of rods, things like that. And then on this back wall, I'm going to slowly turn. So here we are again by the Hustler. We do have another fridge. We have a lot of vintage on the bottom. So we have lots of pulleys and things like that. Here's where we have a lot of our bench grinders and our hand grinders. We do have outlets nearby, so you can test those too if you would like. Lots of our larger sockets and wrenches, some of our smaller sets. We do have lots of funnels and 4-ways. So lots of sets, a few air tools, not a whole lot of pneumatic, but we do have a few. We have some C-clamps and then just kind of some drills and sawzalls. So corded type tools are over here. We do have a couple of tarps, things like that. And then we do have some scrap buckets with some brass and copper stuff. We have fuel cans. This is one of our welding tables. We have a couple options. So, and then we do have this huge like truck bed box. So whether you use it in a shop, you put it on the bed of a truck or in the back of a truck. This is a really huge, heavy duty, just tote around. We will have lots of tubs and boxes and bags of miscellaneous hardware throughout. We have a few on the back wall, a few air hoses. So now I've turned around. This is the welding table we were looking at just a minute ago. And then this is also a welding table that has been made. So that's kind of an option. They've got a big round disc on it. So a couple of leads. This right now is a pile of baskets and buckets that we'll use kind of for guys to fill up and carry out their purchases. Let's go ahead and kind of look through the middle a little bit here. This table has a lot of fishing, tackle boxes, reels, lures, things like that. So we have some options here. We're starting to get things kind of sorted. If we have a full set of something, we're hoping to get it all put together for you. So this may look a little different. We may go ahead and bag some more of these up. We have very little left to sort, but we are sorting some of those. So these tables will have just miscellaneous hand tools. We do have some ammo that we have found. Again, we're just kind of sorting through some of these, finding like style hardware and tools. And then we do have a lot of things that we found like still new in the package. So we have lots of sets of sawzall blades, sockets, bit attachments, things like that. So some of it is still new in the box. And then we are also making just bags of like items depending on a project you might be working on. So we'll have a lot of stuff like that that you can just buy by the bag. That kind of brought us back here to our entrance. Again, the fridges. Here's another one of our ladders. So this is a really tall 24-foot fiberglass extension ladder. So we do have that, a couple more of the fridges. And then we do have a few different rollers through here. So let me slow you, turn you around. Here we have our welders. I think the other one is in line here too. Oh, yep, it's in line. Okay, so this is one of our welders, as well as the cart. They'll be separate, but those are here. Another scrap bucket. Like I said, we're finding full sets and getting sets put together. We do have a sprayer tank. We have a couple of leaf vacs. One is gas powered, one is battery powered. And this is another one of our welding tables. So this one is quite a bit bigger, but this is another one of the welding tables. This one is just a wooden workbench. So brings us back here to our buckets, but I'm actually gonna turn around and show you some of this stuff. So we have some more pulleys, things like that, some more of the rollers. Here is the other welder. We did take the bottles back the other day though, but that is here. Hose reel, our fans. We do have a cart for your bottles, table saw, and then the propane heater. So for the patio, those are really nice. And then we've got a lot of our chemicals, cleaners, whether it's for your vehicle or for your yard, those are all located here. So some of these have not even been opened. Some are still really full. So those will be here. I was trying to see if I had anything hiding under here. Just a couple things, not much. So everything from wasp killer to tiki torch to oil, yard care. So lots of that kind of stuff. All of our extension cords and things like that that we have come across. There's a few heat lamps. All right, let me back up just a little bit. The top shelf, we do have a lot of coolers. If you're looking for a cooler, we do have a little bit of scrap lumber, some trim pieces, things like that. And then there's lots of hand tools in here. So we have some clamps, do have a plane, lots of sheetrock tools for mudding. Did have some windshield wipers. Some oil filters and things like that we've come across. I think there's some brake pads. So, and then down below, a couple more things. We did find a radio, some thermoses, just some odds and ends, little chain sharpener. And then we do have some more metal down here. So these I think are solid rods. So those will all be available. Some of those are pretty long. And then we do have some of the channel here. We have some pieces here, so those will be available. And then I think we had just a couple pieces, some shorter pieces leaning in between here, but they'll have tags. You'll be able to see them pretty good. These are platforms to go on your ladder. So those are there to help hold a paint can or toolbox. Do have the big bench vise. Lots of saw blades around, a little bit of electrical going on here. We did have a little breaker box, things like that. Let me back up on the top. We do have some sprayer options, some organizers. So all those are empty, so they're really light if you want to kind of pull one off and look at them, but those are up there. And then we do have several options as far as just hardware organizers. I even have a couple down here. So we do have those. A little bit of peg hooks, and then here we have a lot of hardware. So good buckets of screws and bolts and things like that. And then up here is a lot of them still in their factory packages. So lots of good hardware. We do have a few winches. So we had a couple in there. And then again, we have a lot more like cutoff disc, things like that. We did have some scrap pieces here and there for some of the metal, depends on what kind of project you might be doing. We do have several horseshoes, a lot more wrenches. Guys, just a little bit of everything. I just wanted to kind of show you. Lots of hammers, zip ties. Again, there's various metal pieces. And then just buckets full of miscellaneous. Another little toolbox. Not a whole lot of chain, but we do have a few chains here and there. All right, and this is one of our doors out to the property. This is where we will have a few things. We do have a few things that are already sitting out here, like these sawhorses. So these are all like adjustable sawhorses. Wheelbarrow. We do have another pair of ramps out here. And then let me show you. We do have a few tanks out here too. So if someone needed those for a project or making a bunk or something like that, like feed bunks, we do have a few viable ones here. And then I do still have a little bit more to show you here. Again, we have lots of buckets and things that we'll use. These shelves are also full of things. So and some of this may get bagged, some of it may just be left here. There's a little bit of everything. Some vintage, some new, there's clamps and hammers. I mean, there's a pickle fork. So everything. We have some ratchet straps. We have grease guns. So more pulleys and wrenches. So just to kind of show you a little bit of everything. So those are kind of in line. So this is the shop. Welcome to the garden. We do have a few garden items, like we have some wagon wheels, we have a few concrete planters, there's some plows. I think I have a little bit of statuary over here. So the garden statuary, we're gonna go ahead and leave these kind of where they're at in this garden bed, but these are available. We'll have them tagged. And then we do have a few blue barrels. I'll put a picture up of those. So if someone is looking for something to use with those, we do have a few of those available. anything inside this fenced-in perimeter that we're working with today is more than likely for sale. So let's go to the patio. All right, welcome to the backyard. We're calling this the patio. This is where we will have a lot of our patio furniture. We do have a few things. The gazebo is staying with the property, guys, but the few pieces sitting around it, and there'll probably be more, will be available for purchase. This is where we have the paddle boat. Do not flip that. Look at all this rain, guys. We let it get a bath. It was flipped upside down. We let it get a bath. This is where the John boat will be located. This is where we will have all of this patio furniture. A lot easier to shop day of. So this will be full of patio furniture. We do have the garden. This is a really cool, hang all your flowering plants or hummingbird feeders and things like that on this. And then while we're right here, I wanted to point out that this gate right here is our secondary access to the parking. So this is the field that we'll be parking in. And so if you're wanting to access the house and maybe not walk quite as far, we're gonna have this open. And then this is also how we will load out your boats. So if you buy like the boat or the barbecue grill or a big piece of patio furniture and we don't want to like squeeze it through the walkway, it may be just as easy to load that way. But the patio also has some things out here in this little garden shed. And it kind of depends on the weather, whether we pull some of it out or if we just leave it in here. If it's raining pretty good, then we're just gonna go ahead and leave stuff in here for you to shop. But this is where our lawn roller is located. This is a fun little attachment, a little bucket for a tractor or a mower. We're not really sure what, but if you have a use for that, that will be here. But let me show you inside here. All right, so again, it kind of depends on the weather. Some of this garden stuff may be in here just to shop anyways, so we'll have the door rolled up. It'll be easy to get to. So we have lots of flower pots, water hoses. We do have some hanging baskets. We do have a couple of patio cushions that were still good. Lots of these globes. We have lots of gazing globes, a couple in a box, and then we have some really pretty ones too that are loose. So check those out. And then our kayaks, and again, weather permitting, we were gonna set them on the sawhorses so they were up so you could check them out, but those will probably be sitting outside. We do have a couple of old milk cans. This was just kind of some viable scrap. There were some bits, there's some peg hooks, things like that. We do have a few buckets of sand. So if you need sand for a project or a bed or something, keep in mind, I do have a few buckets of sand. The barbecue grill, we did find the cover for it. And like I said, we may wheel some of this just outside a little bit, just kind of depends on the weather. If it's really raining, then we'll leave it in here so you can come shop it dry. We do have a plastic shelf, some folding chairs. I do have a folding table that goes with that. Here are a couple more of our ladders. So these are fiberglass step ladders. We do have 2 of those. We do have the scaffolding too. I had mentioned that earlier. And then this mower needs a little TLC, but we do have a Craftsman riding mower in here. So if someone is interested or wants to put a little bit of work in it, that will be here. And then we do have another air compressor. We have a little smoker, we have a tiller, some more lawn chairs, and then like these are the stands that would hold those glass globes. We do have one of these plastic storage tubs for your porch or patio. So keep that in mind. We do have some really good items in here. We just thought we would stage it in here in case it's really windy or really rainy. You'll be able to come shop in here. And so just to kind of give you your bearings, this is the back patio. This is where we're gonna park. And then this is the garage with the furniture and the house. All right, this is the garage that is over here by the house. This is where we have a lot of our furniture staged. So let me kind of walk you through this. I'm gonna turn around. We do have a carpet cleaner. We do have a fan, an ironing board. We do have a garage fridge. Still works, freezer works. So if you're in the market for a garage fridge, we have one. We do have some folding tables. We have a filing cabinet. The metal shelf is staying with the garage, but this one is not attached. So we do have just like a wooden, let me move this. So has a few shelves in it. So that will be available. We do have one of these nice chair walkers. And then we do have some floor rugs that we've put out here. So they're kind of easier to shop. So those are here. It looks like we have a couple more patio cushions, some rock salt. We do have an elliptical machine and an inversion table. And then there are a few peg hook boxes. If you're wanting some peg hooks, we have some of those. And then here's where we have our beds. This will look just slightly different the day of sale. We are gonna wait till the last minute to bring the mattresses down. And you'll be able to buy a bed frame with or without a mattress. You can buy just a mattress, just a frame. We have 2 of them that are full size, and we have 1 that is queen or a full. So we have 1 queen mattress set, and we have several full options. So, but back here on this back wall will be your beds and mattresses, and the mattresses are really clean, guys. They were all in protectors, so super nice. Here's the card table I was talking about with the back patio. Let me move that real quick. And then also our ramp to the front porch and the checkout. All right, got the card table moved. Here is one of our Chester drawers. We do have a big dresser with a mirror. We do have a padded bench. We do have a nightstand, lots of side table options. So all of these larger items will have pull tags. So you will just pull the tag, it'll be marked sold underneath, and you'll just take the tag to checkout. And then other people shopping will know if the price tag is missing, the item is sold, but that will be sold to you. Once you pay for it, we'll stamp it paid, and then you can back up in here and load out. We do have a few cleaners here that we haven't quite got to. These may actually be moved, but we just have rows. We do have an Eden Pure. We have this gorgeous vintage keyhole desk. We do have a roll top. This is where the East Lake table is. One of our shelves. And then the same aisle, we do have a chest of drawers. And then this is a dresser. This is the mirror that goes to the dresser. So that'll be out here. Our dining table is out here. So we didn't want a pilot full of kitchen dishes and then you not be able to get it out. We do have a set of 4 really nice wood chairs that we do not have a table to. So if you're just looking to replace your chairs with some sturdy chairs, these are a really nice option. We have a couple of single chairs, lots of little shelves and organizers, things like that. There's the one up here, the little hamper. This is where the vintage TV is located. Here's another dresser. This one was in the garage when we got the property. They were using it for some tools and stuff like that. So, but that is still here. And then it's kind of dark right here. I don't know how well the light will show up, but I do have a couple of end tables here. And then a couple more chest of drawers. Let me see if I can brighten this. Oh, there we go. Now we can see. So these little side table nightstands, chest of drawers, and then we do have some luggage out here. This has a full set in it, lots of little shelves. We do have a metal detector, and then some of our larger in the box kitchen items are gonna be out here with pull tags as well. These are just bigger, bulkier things that maybe it's hard to carry around while you're still shopping. So we do have a blender. This was a dish set, like a caddy. We had dehydrators, crock pots, microwaves, and a roaster. So those are out here in the box. Those will have pull tags as well. We did have a few viable bags of concrete. There's a vintage chest out here, a little bit more luggage. So just to kind of show you, we'll have, weather permitting, we'll have these doors open. We do have the 2 office chairs as well. So weather permitting, the doors will be rolled up. If it's real rainy, we might just drop them a little lower, and we'll come in and out the walk-through door over here. So this walk-through door leads us to the back patio, and then our other access to the house. So that is the garage. All right, let's go check out the house. I wanted to point out a couple of things on access inside the house. We do have some steps right here going up the porch. And then I wanted to show you, if steps are a little hard, if we walk down this drive out here in front of the garage, we do have a ramp access and a handrail all the way. So if you park closer in the back and come through the backyard, or even if someone needs to drop you off and then go park, the ramp is easier access for some people. And then this is actually going to go out back with our other patio furniture. This is where the checkout is actually going to be located. It gives us more room to stage stuff in the house. And so you will actually come outside. This will help our checkout be a little more central to the garage and the patio and in everything inside the house. So this will be checkout, and this glider will be with our patio furniture on the back patio. But let's go inside. All right, welcome to the kitchen. This is where we're gonna start. So we are just gonna work our way around. We do have all the cabinets emptied, but this is where we have a lot of our dish sets, lots of fun drinking glasses. We do have cast iron skillets. This is where we have some of the Corningware, some of the Pyrex you've seen us talk about, the KitchenAid mixer, things like that. And then we do have lots of fun little things sprinkled in the window seals. And then we'll get to the center here in a minute. We're gonna go ahead and walk all the way around. This was definitely a cooking kitchen. We have lots and lots of utensil options. So we have a lot of those in here. Give those a look. Lots of decor. I do have the knives, and we may push those back a little bit and scoot the coffee pot over. I try to keep the sharp knives and things where the little kids, if they're just grabbing stuff, aren't gonna cut themselves, and you know, we ourselves. So nothing in the utensil box should hopefully cut you. So all the pokey things, sharp edge things are gonna be located here. I'll probably just scoot the coffee pot over a little bit and push those back a little bit. But we do have some good, you know, knives, fillet knives, pizza cutters, things like that. So these have an edge, be aware. Then we have lots of fun butter dishes up here in the window seal. And then lots of mugs, more dishes, spoon rest, Tupperware items. Then we have lots of our flatware is over here. We did go through the drawers and put like sets together. So there's lots of flatware if you're in the need for some flatware. And then over here, we do have some of our everyday paper goods, baggies, napkins, styrofoam cups, coffee filters, all that kind of good stuff is down here. And then we have lots of our bakeware. So lots of pots, pans, skillets. This is where the Magnolite is. We do have lots of like angel food cake pans, some spring forms, and then lots of sets. We go ahead and price these individually because maybe you don't need a whole set, but you know, you can buy them all if you do. Lots of good bake pans in here, so definitely want to look at that. And then we do have a few little racks. These few racks here are for sale. Our black plastic ones that we bring in are not, but these fun ones are going to be for sale. And then I just had a few Tupperware, I think, underneath here, and there may be just a few under here as well. So not a whole lot. We tried to get it up where you guys could shop it. So these were lots of fun. Tea towels, pot holders, just some linens. There are a few, I think there's just a couple aprons here. A lot of the aprons are in the linen room. We'll show you that here in a minute. We'll go ahead and go this way. Do have some slicers. So yeah, we do have a few little pans. There's a couple of silverware organizers, like they go in your drawer to keep your spoons and forks separated. There's a couple of those in there. Lots of skillets, stainless steel mixing bowls, all the fun stuff. We do have some measuring cups, salt and peppers, things like that. So lots of goodies to shop in here. Several trays, more utensils, a couple of crock pots. We do have a really nice heavy duty grinder in here. Lots of the Pyrex, so casserole containers. This one was actually a Longaberger. Do have some recipe cards up here, some of the vintage Tupperware. Do have a couple of crocks in here, so that kind of shows you the center. I'm gonna actually turn back around. This is where we came in. I do have a little bit of pantry items here. So we do have some Kleenexes. This is where we do have some more cookbooks, lots of just pantry. And then I wanted to point out, we do have a lot of extra lids. So there's one crock pot lid. There's a bunch of like Corningware, casserole. These would have been like a glass bakeware sets. But if you have a dish that is missing a lid, it may not hurt to measure it before you come, because we do have some lid options. And then like our pantry, if you've never been with us before, we usually will have bags somewhere nearby. You can fill a bag. These are signs that will hang out all over the yard when you get here, so this will be fun. This, I will point out, we make a full circle around the house, so it really doesn't matter which way you go, you'll end up back in the kitchen. So we're gonna go into the living room. We do have lots of shelves and risers full of all kinds of goodies. We've kind of sprinkled in, there are candles mixed in everywhere. We've got clocks and scissors, all kinds of fun stuff. This is one of our sofas. This was the England sofa, so no recliners in this one. This is just a really beautiful sofa. This is all of our pricing stuff. We're still getting stuff priced this week, so everything is ready to go. I will go ahead and point out, we will have this lockbox by the checkout here at the house. So this has some pocket watches. It's got like a little jewelry thing. We do have some foreign coins. We had some world coins in here, the gold rimmed glasses. So that type of stuff will be located by the checkout. So probably out on the porch at the house. This sofa is a fun one. So this is an Ashley rocking sofa. Let me see if I can get this to show you and not make you dizzy at the same time. But these, I'm not going to get it to do it. Anyways, both of these rock independently, and then the center stays solid, and then they both recline. So that's kind of a fun piece. And then this is the electric. So it does not lift you, but it does recline. So it's an electric recliner. So as far as furniture goes, and then we do have the TVs in here and the entertainment console. So that will show you that. Lots of our oil lamps are located up here. This is also where I have the Mac computer. So we have wiped that, put the newest OS on it. So it is good to go if you're in the market for a Mac Mini. And then we do have some stationery down here. I do have one huge mirror hiding in the back there. I didn't want it to fall over, but that will have a price tag on it as well. So let's just take you around. We do have a second TV, and then all the goodies on the tables. So these are just mixed with all kinds of vintage, household, modern. We do have some cassettes. Do have a few lamps. VHSs are located underneath the table if that's something you're interested in. And then we do have a little bit of Christmas. It's kind of out of season, but if you want to look through those will be on the edge, and you're more than welcome to pull those out. So lots of games. We have some fun vintage ones. So games are located over here. Lots of decor pieces. This is where the Aladdin lamp is. Cowboy hats are kind of sprinkled all over the place. But we do have a couple in here. The Lewis Lamar books, things like that. And then we have some more over here. So more lamps, lots of wall decor. Just kind of give you an idea. We do have some of the doilies and things like that in here. A few books located. The wall mirror will be for sale as well. We do have a few things laying down here. Let me see if I can get the light to adjust. So just kind of lean in here. Some walls, like the peg shelf. Do have a marble chessboard. So those are here. We didn't have a lot of nails in the wall, so we didn't want to add more. So those are all here. This is a really pretty jewelry box. Do have one of the little brass desk lamps. Things like that. And this was fun. I was going to show this off. We found all the pieces. So this is like a wind chime, but it needs rethreaded. So it's got fun little farm animals and a barn. So if you want to rethread it, that was a really cute wind chime. We do have some pictures, some frames, and a clock here. I will back up and point out. So this is the staircase to upstairs. We do not have anything upstairs right now. We are going to have just this roped off. So there's nothing up here. We're just going to keep making the circle. Do have a few more mirrors and photos. As we first come in, we do have a hat rack. So for all the cowboy hats, we do have a hat rack. This is the Sleep Number bed. So we do still have it plugged in and hooked up. We do have a lot of blankets on top of it right now. But this is where the Sleep Number is located. We decided it did not need to go in the garage. So let's just talk about what's on the bed. These are a bunch of throws, comforters, lap blankets, things like that. We do have a cedar chest in here. This one's really pretty. It's been hand painted. And then our quilts are going to be here on the corner. So we do have all the quilts will be here. And then we found a couple you guys have not seen yet. We found a box in the shop. This is just a quilt top. And then this one is someone started this with all the little squares. And then in the bottom of the bag are hundreds of those little squares. So if you're looking for a project piece, that's kind of fun. We did just find those, but so quilts will be in here. Lots of the Afghans and comforters are all here. And then we do have just a lot of our men's clothing. We did find just a little bit of probably more like women's, maybe even a couple of children's size pieces over here. But for the most part, everything we have is men's. So we do have some decent cowboy boots and shoes. You can see we tried to put like items together, socks and things like that. We'll have all of these labeled. These are placemats and some napkins. Here we have lots of really nice coats, vests, warmer weather, men's jackets. We do have some of the pants, and then we have like long sleeves and a lot of our short sleeves. And then we'll have these labeled too. So we did go ahead and sort the types of denims. These are a few shorts. These are jeans, and then these are all coveralls. I think I may even spread these into 2 boxes. So we have denim, we have like your winter coveralls. So lots and lots of coveralls in here. Definitely want to maybe give that a look. And then in our closet here, we have all of these are towels. So some really good bath towels in here. All of these underneath are pillows. So if you're interested in a pillow, we do have some of those. Then we have like hand towels and wash rags. We have tablecloths and lap blankets. This is where we do have a bunch of our aprons. We have a bunch of our vintage doilies and things like that. And then these are all sheet sets. We do have a few trinkets in here, but this room is mostly all linens and clothing. We do have several of our hats up here. A couple of those are wool. A lot of those are straw. But so hats will be in here. And then as we walk into the hallway here, We did go ahead and take some of the cabinet doors off, and so these are full of all kinds of goodies. So gloves, and then this is a lot of hygiene. So some of the, they're still sealed and good and new in the box, things like that. So there's some allergy pills, Band-Aids, just, the bathroom hygiene type stuff. We have a lot of that. Kleenexes, light bulbs. It's kind of tight here. Let me turn around the other way. And then on the other side, we have just a few things in here too. This is full of greeting cards. There's some baskets, a little bit more hygiene. We do have a couple of like sun tea pitchers. There's a couple of brooms in here. And so this is where I said we make a circle. So we're back in the kitchen. And then we do have one more little room back here, kind of the mudroom, washroom. And this looks like a hot mess right now. And so we will either stage this a little better. Originally, we thought we might put up a couple of tables underneath the awning in the patio and put all of the cleaning supplies out there for you guys to be able to shop them a little easier. That is just kind of weather permitting. If we get closer to time and it looks like it's going to be really raining, then we're going to stage this a little differently, bring in another table so that we can shop this a little better. But we had it all piled here with the intentions of setting it up just outside. So it's kind of 50-50 whether that will happen or if it'll just be staged in here. So cleaners will either be back here or just right outside. But we have lots and lots of just random, all the junk drawer stuff, extra batteries, clothespins, tape options, bungee cords, all kinds of things. There's some fly traps that haven't been used yet. So I will point out though that our chest freezer is located back here. So we do have it plugged in. That is working. And then we do have this chest, kind of like a storage trunk back here. Again, a lot of this is just kind of loose because we were going to set it outside. Unsure whether that will be the case or not. So washer and dryer are staying with the house. They're not for sale. But this is just another access to our back patio and our garage. So we can make a full circle all around the property. All right, guys, that concludes our walkthrough tour. We can't wait to see you this weekend. We will be here for 3 days. So we will be here Thursday, June 25th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And for those of you who like to shop more in the evening, on Friday, June 26th, we will be here from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. And then for our final wrap-up day, we will be here on Saturday, June 27th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. So rain or shine, we will be inside. So come see us at the Cannon Estate Sale. It's going to be a good one.